When we hear about new cases of a disease, they are often presented as if they were new infections. They are not. 4 new cases in Upper Twiddleham does not mean there are 4 new infections in a Middle England town. And cases doubling in Ergelfergeland does not mean that the disease is spreading rapidly in some foreign country. We need another vital piece of information, without which the number of new cases is useless. So let's say there is a deadly lurgy in Twiddleham. Yesterday, to find out who has the lurgy, we tested the Twidleians for particular signs. Some had those signs, some did not. Those who did were recorded, and these are the new cases of the lurgy. That is, the new cases are the people that we found with the lurgy. And that is what we mean when we talk about cases, an individual known to have the disease. But although we tested some Twidleians, we didn't have enough time or test kits to check everyone. Lots of other Twidleians are also infected with the deadly lurgy, but we don't know who they are. We know who the new cases are, but we do not know who else has the infection. And we can see that the number of infected people is greater, perhaps much greater, than the number of cases. So can we tell how many people are infected? Well, let's look at this in a bit. So yesterday, we used all our test kits on the Twidleians. Today, some more have arrived, enough to open a second testing centre. And we can now test twice the number of people. This is a good thing, as more sick people can be treated. So yesterday, we tested 20 people and half of them had the lurgy. That's 10 cases. Today, we test 40 people and half of them have the lurgy. That's 20 cases. And tomorrow, perhaps, we will test 60 people, and if half of them have the lurgy, that's 30 cases. So yesterday 10, today 20, tomorrow 30. We are finding more cases. The number of cases is going up every day. But this is just because the number of tests is increasing. The more we test, the more cases we get, even if there are no new infections. And of course, we expect people to infect each other as they meet each other. So the number of new cases here is not the number of people who have just been infected, but the number of people we found with the lurgy. These are people who already had the lurgy. And yet some Twidleian journalists don't get this.
In today's news,
cases of deadly lurgy doubles in Twiddleham.
Twidleians more likely to contract the lurgy than Weberians.
Hamsters cause cancer! They don't seem to understand. New cases are not new infections. But when news outlets tell us about these cases, they're telling us about something we can count, the number of people who are found with the disease. Too often, we take it to mean something we don't know, the number of people infected in the population. Now, if we don't know the extent of infections, can we estimate it from what we do know? Why, yes. Yes, we can. We only have enough time and kits to test some of the population, so we pick some people and test them. And this gives us a proportion. This proportion is then a rough estimate of how many infections there are in the whole town. For example, if half the people we test have the lurgy, we can expect half the town to have the lurgy. So if we test 100 people and 50 have the lurgy, that's half the people we picked. And if the town has 10,000 people, then half of them, 5,000, have the lurgy, even though we only have 50 cases. If very few of the people we test have the lurgy, we can expect very few of the population to have the lurgy.
Hooray!
If most of the people we test have the lurgy, we can expect most of the population to have the lurgy.
Ooh.
So remember, new cases are not new infections. There are many more infections than cases. We must know the number of tests as well as the number of cases to work out the extent of a lurgy. If someone is using the number of cases to make a point and not telling you the proportion, send them here. Don't be a COVIDiot. Tell your MP. Convince your journalists. Isolate your hamster.
in today's news,
Twiddleham doomed.
Hamsters cure cancer!